Hello, good morning, and welcome to your number one show, African Morning Breakfast Show, coming to you live from our studio right here in South Sudan capital, Juba. My name is Majur Cholkor, and in our today editions of our African Morning Breakfast Show, I'm profoundly honored and exceedingly humbled to say have been joined by one of the influential South Sudanese women rights activists. She was one of the signatories to the Revitalized Peace Agreement, and she is believed to be a role model to most of the South Sudanese women in the country. I'm talking of Ms. Amir Manyok Deng. She is one of the South Sudanese women that is being talking about what is affecting women in the country. Amir, allow me to say it, I'm profoundly honored and exceedingly humbled to have you in our African Morning Breakfast Show on SLBC. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Majur Chol. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and to our viewers, thank you so much for following African Morning Breakfast Show. And we come to you every weekday from Tuesday and Thursday at this very hour. Always don't hesitate to follow us. And as for now, let's have a short kind of break, and we'll be right back right here in the studio.
This is Morning Breakfast Show coming to you live on SSBC.
Good morning, South Sudan. Welcome to African Breakfast Show, SLBC, coming to you live from South Sudan capital, Juba.
I am Denis Abekajin, bring to you current affairs within the states and around. This is African Morning Breakfast Show.
Welcome back, dear viewers. Thank you so much. You are following African Morning Breakfast Show, coming to you live from our studio in South Sudan capital, Juba. My name is Majur Cholkor, and in our today editions, we are going to explore more on the role of South Sudanese women in business, power sharings, and the implementations of the Revitalized Peace Agreement. And my guest remain as Amir Manyok Deng, women rights activist in the country. To begin with, Amir, you're welcome to the studio once again.
Thank you.
It has been a while without seeing you in media platform, and people want to know why you have been so silent, seeing you have been talking about challenges affecting the women in the country. Can you have a word of maybe greeting before we go into much detail of why we are here?
Thank you so much, Majur, for hosting me in SSBC. And I thank all our viewers. And in fact, your question, why were you absent in in the civil society arena and especially activism. I lost my mom last year.
Sorry.
So we will commemorate 1 year on the 27th of this month. So that one actually pulled me back a little bit. And losing an elderly person and your mom is not an easy task. So that's why I was a bit back a little bit. Yeah,
Thank you so much for making it to our studio, and especially African Morning Breakfast Show. And we are talking about women's responsibilities in business and peace implementations and in power sharing. First, what can you tell our viewers about who is a woman, and in South Sudan, who are considered to be women according to the law?
Thank you so much. A woman is a baby girl that was born in a family and grew up to be a mature girl and either married or not married, but took up the responsibility. And if she got married, she take upon the responsibility of the whole family, being their family where she was born or the family where she got married. And then we become proud South Sudanese women, and especially myself, whenever I'm interacting with anybody, and especially when I get myself in the middle of white people or in the middle of brown people, or see it like the way I saw our very strong giant basketballers when they play there and they beat all the rivals. I become more proud as South Sudanese woman who gave birth to that baby boy, and he's doing very well, our baby girl. And then I'm a very proud dark South Sudanese woman, and I'm proud of my color. And I believe very soon in South Sudan we will join Rwanda, because Rwandese call themselves Rwandese. They don't call themselves by their states or tribe or whatever. So very soon we'll be a proud South Sudanese that will call ourselves, we are South Sudanese.
Yes. What can you describe about, or how can you describe the nature of South Sudanese women? What are they best known for?
The South Sudanese are best known for the hard work. They are very hard working ladies and talented. Whatever work that is given to South Sudanese, she can do to her perfections. And they are caring for their families. And if you go to the market, you will see them, whether it's a little girl or a middle class or an old woman, she's doing what she can. And the same thing, she's also contributing to the family. The South Sudanese women, they do everything. Even during the liberation struggle, they stood firm as a logistic to our men to support the liberation movement in terms of logistic. And you know how broad the logistic is. And they also took care of the children, and they make sure that we got our independence. That is a South Sudanese woman.
So that is how best they are known for.
They are known for excellency, they are known for dedication, they are known for rehearsing, they are known for commitment and proud of their country, that we have a country that calls South Sudan.
Well, South Sudanese women are known for the commitments and the best that they do to the people of the Republic of South Sudan, their sons, their husbands, and their fellow men in the country. Now, in this edition of African Morning Breakfast Show, we are looking at the role of South Sudanese women in the revitalized peace agreement and whether they are being involved in the current roadmap or not. Amer is going to help us understand more about what they are expecting as South Sudanese women in the country that need to be given to them in the revitalized peace agreement, and are they given what they need or not? And if not, what should be done for them to have the right as women in the country? And I mean, before we look at deeply about the involvement of women in the revitalized peace agreement, I want you to talk about a bit about women in business. Do you think that South Sudanese women are involved in business? And if yes, what type of business are they currently involved in it?
I'll go back to your first question. If they are really involved in the roadmap of the implementation, and I will come back to business. In fact, we are seeing a gap. There is a relative gap that is coming, and we don't need that gap to exist. Maybe our government, the Tigono, assume that maybe the female who are representing us in 35% are the women of South Sudan, which is true, but not really very true, because the majority are outside there. The only representative we have, either in the presidency, is maybe one female. The other female which we have in the executive, the few female which is not yet completely 35% are there. They are representing us. At the same time, the speaker. But they have duties like the duties of the male, our male counterpart that they are doing. But we remain behind there to advocate for the other women who did not get their space. Because if you see, in all the 10 state plus 3 administrative areas, we have only one female governor, and the rest is not yet fulfilled. And if you go to the commissioners, because we wanted to improve, because there is a vision of the late Dr. John Garang that takes town to the people. And who will take town to the people? And when women moved out from the villages, and they have gone to the refugee camps, and they have gone to IDP camps, who remain there? And if they are displaced by the water, by the flood, who remains there? So for them to come back, because we have highlands where we can move the people who are really floating in the water, we need a female commissioner who knows how best the women are suffering in the water, despite the fact that when the water is overwhelming, it kills the animals, it kills the human being, and it kills everything that is available, including the firewood you don't get. But if it is a female commissioner, she will make sure that the people are moved, because we have islands in the country and we have the lowlands. The female commissioner will make sure that they have met with her female Payama demonstrator and her female, because we are majority, we are more than 70%. Our male counterpart are continuing killing themselves, which we are losing. We are losing our husbands, we are losing our brothers, we are losing our sons, unnecessary. So what we need here is the female commissioners, because we don't have a single female commissioner. We don't have Payama demonstrators, and also even chiefs, because for us to have a strong foundation where the South Sudanese need to go back home and establish, we need female in all these status. And that is why, as Women Bloc of South Sudan and a chairperson, we need to sit in that round table political discussion or political implementations, so that we can be able to make sure that all the gaps that were existing for the last 4 years are fulfilled.
You have been one of the signatories to the Revitalized Peace Agreement as from the Women Bloc side. Don't you think that you are well represented?
In fact, the space of the Women Bloc, the name is there. But the person who is presenting us there is not doing her best to make sure that how we started it since 2014, and we become first signatories on behalf of women of South Sudan for the first time in the world history, and in the history of Sudan, and in the history of the whole world. We, the Women Bloc, were the first signatories on behalf of women, demanding our rights, demanding our space, and we got it. In 2015, I became the first signatory on behalf of women. There were still challenges. In 2017 Revitalized Agreement, I was a representative as well, and we managed, we were advocating for 50%, but in the end, the parties to the agreement agreed that the women should go with the affirmative action of 35%. we took it and we said, okay, this is an entry point, and which is good. We have the vice president, we have the speaker, we have the female in the executive, and we have also female in the legislature, and which is not enough still, because that gap is still huge. There are a lot of challenges, and they are handling a lot of issues. We remain behind here to advocate for the space of those people who have not yet gotten a chance, so that they will get a chance and do the transformation. We know the transformation can be done when you have a right representative in a right place. We have, for example, I can bring an example of the governor of Western Bahr Ghazal, Sarah Keleto. I think Sarah Keleto is representing us very well. She's doing her best on behalf of the women of South Sudan. When somebody becomes a representative, you don't represent your party, or you don't represent your people, you represent the nation, the whole nation. So the gap that is existing is because there were challenges that happened during the revitalized agreement. There were only 3 articles that were mentioning the names of the women, Article 1.4.4, and the article to do with the FDs for the female vice president, and one article for the female deputy speaker. And when I raise my voice and say that there is a gap, there is a huge gap here, that the women affirmative action is supposed to be mentioned from the page 1 to the last page, because we know as women how we are being pushed and how we are being put in the corner most of the time. But the special envoy plus the people who were really engaging in that particular time were not listening to me. They thought maybe I'm giving them too much noise. I was asking them, where is the entry points for the rest of the women so that they can participate in this revitalized agreement, and especially to fulfill the 35%. And there was also a huge gap coming in because, you know, we were demanding majority of the contracts, and you ask about the business.
We will come to that.
You will come to that.
Let's talk about 35%.
35%.
That is
that
being
is
given.
the reason why I was suspended.
Do you think you have done enough as women? The number of the women that are representing women in the government, have you done enough?
Not yet. Not yet, because we have not yet fulfilled a space for 35%, and we are majority in the country. And the most vulnerable people, women, and the children are still suffering, and there is a huge gap that needed to be fulfilled that we are not yet done. Because apart from you can count them. They cannot reach 10 or 15, those one who are leading in the country. So we are still lacking behind. Now,
do you think there is still need for women representations or involvement in the current roadmap?
Yes.
What are the key areas?
One of the key areas is a full implementation of 35% affirmative action, that we will demand all the parties to the agreement to make sure that the spaces where they put our male counterpart, that spaces should be given to the female, to the women. That one is, and right women. And also the women also have right also to know which woman, if she's there in that seat, can look back and see her sisters that are left behind. We need a woman who was engaged, in the civil society arena, a woman who knows how to demand the space for the other women to participate, a woman who have a heart for who can see the suffering of her sisters along the road. Because how do we feel when we see our little young girls on the roadside carrying the nuts for survival with their families and carrying the maize, and they are not going to school? How do we feel? And to see our sisters coming out every morning, yes, it's not bad, that is a good practice, to come out every morning, go and sell your vegetables along the roadside is not bad. And then to make some tea, and they are the target. They are the target of the city council. The city council also remove them unlawfully, and we need to create for them a market whereby they can be found, because our market is fully occupied, the Konya Konya market. And the other market are also taken over by those people who came with the skill, and they also came with their resources, and they managed to get in and get the right locations so that they can make their businesses. Yet our sisters are left on the road, on the street.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And dear viewer, thank you so much. You are following African Morning Breakfast Show, coming to you live from our studio in South Sudan capital, Juba. My name is Majur Cholkor, and my guest remains Amer Manyok Deng. She's a women rights activist and chairperson of Women Bloc of South Sudan. And we are exploring more on the role of South Sudanese women in the Republic of South Sudan in regard to the implementations of the Revitalized Peace Agreement. What key areas that are needed for women of South Sudan to be represented if they are not represented, and what does the government of South Sudan is doing right now to making sure that women of South Sudan are being well represented in the government and other sectors of other sectors in the country. Let's have a break, and we'll be right back shortly.
Morning Breakfast Show coming to you live on SSBC.
Good morning, South Sudan. Welcome to African Breakfast Show, SSBC, coming to you live from South Sudan capital, Juba.
I am Denis Abrekajin, will bring to you current affairs within the states and around. This is African Morning Breakfast Show.
Welcome back, dear viewers. Thank you so much. You're still following African Morning Breakfast Show on SABC, and we're talking about the role of South Sudanese women in the Revitalized Peace Agreement and the involvement of South Sudanese women in business and power sharing. And helping us to understand more on this is Ms. Amer Manyok Deng, South Sudanese women activist. Amer, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's talk about power sharing. Now, how can you describe the power sharing according to the Revitalized Peace Agreement? Do you think it is balanced? And if not, what does it require to be balanced?
I think the power sharing by the party is favoring them. And it's favoring them, that is why they have extended the roadmap. And the reason why they were not implementing is nobody questioned them. Why did you not implement? What were the challenges? Because the challenge is that maybe one of the challenges that were hindering the implementation of the RRCs is maybe they did not accept from the bottom of their heart that they want to implement. But right now, they have promised His Excellency the President of the Republic of South Sudan, Comrade Salva Kiir Mayardit, has promised to implement the roadmap. And also his colleagues in the cabinet has promised to implement. And I believe it is very good for them. All of them, they are not complaining. The only people who are complaining are the out groups, those who are not inside South Sudan. And
are women of South Sudan complaining?
The women of South Sudan are not complaining. The reason why we are not complaining very much, because we have our sisters up there. We have our sisters in those areas that I have mentioned before. So they know our sisters inside there, they will do something like, for example, when Her Excellency, the Vice President Rebecca, went last year to the UN summit, she promised the South Sudanese women and youth that there is a youth and enterprise development fund that is going to be given out by the World Bank and African Development Bank. So it is one of the achievements that we had seen the female vice president has done last year. But we are still in the process now until when we will get that liquid cash and the fair distribution, so that all the groups which are working, the business men and women, business youth and women, the entrepreneurs which are in business, get the fund in a right way. That is a challenge now. How best can that fund from the World Bank and from African Development Bank and from other banks that are pledging the fund to the youth and women, how will it reach them? Because it's not first time for the World Bank to pledge to support the South Sudanese people, and that fund does not reach the needy persons. And the same thing, it is not the first time for African Development Bank. So how will this fund be utilized well so that the South Sudanese youth and women get it? So we are proud of that space. The same thing to our female legislature, the Speaker, Honorable Nunu Kumba. She's also trying her level best in the parliament. She's trying her level best in the parliament. And you know, changing laws is not an easy task. It's a very hard, tough task. But I want to encourage that our legislature, the whole, in the two houses, to make sure that they are doing right thing. Despite the fact that this agreement is only nominating the MP and can remove the MP, which is not there all over the world. There is no MP that can be nominated and the MP should be removed. The MPs are elected by the communities, by the constituencies.
Now you said you are not complaining as women of South Sudan. Why are you advocating for the right?
You know, the little we got is not like something big that we did not get. You know, that one was a first step. The second step is not when we are not going to get the other part, which we are after it, we are not leaving it. And also our parties to the agreement are also abide by it. And that is why I need to be sitting in JMAC. Because JMAC, that is where every month the issues that are not implemented are followed up. Because if I'm sitting there in JMAC, we will make sure that the gaps that is existing is fulfilled. So it will not take us long like when we were demanding the 35% and when we were demanding the 25%. That one was a tough task. But now this is not a tough task because it is a law and it is signed. The only challenge is when there is no monitoring. Because of the challenge, our representative in the JMAC were not seriously following the implementation, because it is called Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission. So our representative in the Monitoring and Evaluation Commission are supposed to raise each and every gap that is existing and let us be aware. But since they are not doing that and we left them for the last 4 years and they were not doing, I'm still demanding that space. And my constituency, the women bloc leadership said I should be there because our representative who has hijacked the space and went to the RJMEC unlawfully should know that that space is for women bloc, and we really fought for it to do something. It's not a space where you just go and sit.
Let's talk about women's involvement in the constitutional making process in the next 24 months of the roadmap and the development or the draftings of the constitutions of the Republic of South Sudan. Do you think there is much need for women from the grassroots to be involved? And if they are to be involved, what should be the best approach that maybe the top leadership should use to have the rights of South Sudanese women that could not even come to SLBC be heard?
Yes. Thank you so much. And that is what we are asking for. We are fighting for, that there is a need to create awareness to the women at the grassroots level, to know their right, to demand their seats, like the seat for commissionership. Our men go and sit under the tree and select or nominate whoever that they want and bring their names and give it to the leadership, and it is appointed. The women need to see when men are sitting, they also have to go alone without even being invited, come and sit here. Because we have seen majority of the South Sudanese these days, when you want to go and grab chances and grab resources, you mobilize people and you are put in that space and grab that little when you get and go away with it. And then tomorrow another person come and also work hard to make sure that the other person is removed and get himself or herself in that space. But women don't have that characters. And that characters for our men to leave it, because that is what is hindering the peaceful South Sudan that we want. There is not a good practice. So what we need and what we want from our international partners who came to support South Sudanese people and train them, we need to be having seminars in this country which will bring both men and women, and we sit under one table. Discuss first about our families, because the gender-based violence is very high. Discuss that women have rights to own the properties. Discuss that how will we share the responsibilities and how can we share the power in terms of governance. Because now women are aware most of the time, they are the one attending conferences, workshops, training, they got a skill. But the men in our community, in the Payams, in the Boomers, in the counties, in the state, they are not aware. They are still having that mentality that they have a muscular and they can fight and they can rope and they can take anything the way they want. Because they get used, yes, to go and sit together because their time is not occupied. Most of their time, because they are not going to farms, they don't go do agriculture, so they are not engaged. It is women who is cleaning the house, washing the clothes, cooking, preparing children go to school, doing everything. Her time is occupied. But majority of men is just sitting under the tree, take tea, wait, food is ready, go eat, go and play dumna, play under the tree, go and sit where they discuss, oh, so and so I have to leave, quit this position. I'm the one to go there. And then they go and sit under the tree, discuss it, mobilize other people, go and campaign, get the seat, go and grab the finance. Now you are seeing that there is no development in the states, and there is no development in the counties, and there is no development in the cities. Only the person who is developing is the person who has grabbed to go and build for herself a house or himself a house. And they don't mind about education, so that also they can also have the best quality education, the best hospitals, because we have money at all.
Do you think women are the best people to make this country develop?
Yes, because the future is for our children, and we don't want to leave our children in this mess. We need to correct. Because like South Sudanese are all brought up in a manner that they have a heart of, we are generous by nature, and that one has not yet gone. And that is why we wanted not to lose our elderly persons who still have that heart. Despite the challenges that are affecting us for the last, I don't know how many years now, during the liberation struggle, and maybe after the liberation struggle from 2005, the behaviors have changed. And we have lost our social fabric, despite the fact that our cultures, we are still maintaining them. But still, we don't want to lose our elderly men and women and veterans who have the histories on how can we get along with our country and fix this country. You know, we have a good culture that we don't want to lose. Our culture is related to the culture of Chinese. We used to work in collaborations. You cannot eat alone and leave your brother or sister to suffer. I saw that one in Rwanda. People share things equally, and that is our culture. We need to bring it back.
Now, in your statement earlier, you said South Sudanese women are involved in small-scale businesses to bring food on the table, and you accused City Council to be tampering with the work of these South Sudanese women who are doing business. What do you think the government should do, and what is your advice that maybe how should City Council maybe deal with these South Sudanese women that are not involved in politics, but they want to have a living if there is peace in the country?
Yes, my advice to the City Council need to create a market for women, a real market for pure South Sudanese women and men, because we are really displaced from the market. Maybe call it konyo konyo. Maybe you can get 1% or 2% of the Sudanese or South Sudanese in the market, but you cannot chase somebody who is making tea to earn a living for her son or a daughter or a family, and remove her unnecessary, and you are not even sending her somewhere, and then pack all those small plastic chairs and the table that she acquired with a lot of sweat and struggling, begging people so that she can get that table and chair to come and cook tea along the roadside, and you destroy it. What do you think that person can go? I have seen it with my eyes. I have tried my level best to ask for a meeting with the City Council mayor, but it has been taking so long. So I have to say it here now. You are doing a good job. You are removing people along the roadside, which we actually support you. We need you to clean those roads to look good, because our city must be clean. We also need to support you to clean our city. You know, when I was driving, I'm coming from Tongpeng, coming here, I saw a man pulling a garbage, dirty garbage, put it in the middle of the road. And this is the only highway in Juba where when president is going to the airport, or any president coming from whatever country is passing on that road. Now, as we speak, if somebody go now, you will see that garbage in the middle of the road. What is the work of the City Council? And the city is very dirty. We don't like that. We want to work with him in partnership, because that is our work as women. That is what we do in the families. We clean our houses, we clean our clothes, we cook food and everything. And if anybody is coming unnecessary, not knowing this country, people should respect, even those people who drive. Why should somebody drive a car and when you drink the water, you finish drinking water, you just dump the kersal on the roadside? Why? You don't have a feeling of just keep it in your car. Or even maybe you are in Boda Boda and you are drinking water and then you drop it in the road. What does it mean? People come out, and when the rain is raining, and especially in our area there, and there are you will see the block is mixed, the hill is mixed with the people who are doing unnecessary things there, which are also spoiling our children in one way or the other. And then when the rain is raining, then they remove their garbage and go and pour it in the where the water is running.
Thank you so much. We have a lot to talk about. And thank you so much, dear viewers, for following African Morning Breakfast Show. And you are following African Morning Breakfast Show, where we are exploring more on the role of South Sudanese women in the revitalized peace agreements, in business and in power sharings. And been helping me right here is Ms. Amer Manyok Deng. She's a women rights activist and talking about the right of South Sudanese women in the country. Before I let you go, because of time, what could be a word of encouragement to South Sudanese women that are involved in business and maybe they have no opportunities to meet the top leadership? What could be a word of encouragement for them? And what would be your advice to the top leadership of the country on women representations in the transitional government of national unity? Maybe in less than 2 minutes.
Yes, my message to our leadership in this country is that we are partners and we are working together. We are not going contrarily because the country is our country. We are proud of it. Whenever you see us mentioning issues that need to be addressed, there is no way you can come up with a solution when you don't have a watchdog. We are the watchdog, and we are seeing a lot of, because we are interacted with the community. Wherever we go, reach and meet the people, and we go to several funerals and go for meetings, they don't go there. We also travel, we go outside the city, we go like in the state and in the counties, and we see the challenges. It is them to allow us to sit with them one-to-one, or sit with them as a group and give them our opinion on what they can do. Because the cabinet also have authority to implement something. Like last time, we talked about the issue of the water tankers which are killing people in the street. And sometimes, yes, we can talk like in the press or in the media, but some things need to be documented. When we meet with them and they agree on some areas, then the changes can come slowly by slowly. So we urge our leadership. We have been requesting meetings with you, but you are not giving us chance even to talk to you. So that is one of the challenges. And then whenever we are demanding our space, it does not mean that you don't know that this is women's right. But we know that you are overwhelmed by the people who also demand their space, because everybody need a chance to get in there. So for them to get in there, we are telling you that please, a space for women, give it to them. And let the community sit, or women in particular, and see the right person who can deliver the service. This time we need the people who can be delivering services and advocate for people, because what is lacking in this country is awareness. Creation of awareness, so that people, and awareness is not for free. You know, those people who go and talk, they have their families. They have their children that need to go to school. They have their house that they need also to take care of them, or they are renting some people's houses. And they have their relatives, and there is a need. So you don't think that people will continue voluntarily, like in 1983 to 2005. There is no voluntarily work here because we have our resources. You know the reason why you can see the international partners coming with the funding, because they know that there is no job without financial support. Even during the war, we were doing the logistics, because they need food, they need water, they need clothing, they need everything. We were doing that. Right now, also, we the activists, also we need support. Because sometimes, when you are leaving, your child is not going to school. When you are leaving the house, there is no food on the table. When you are leaving your relatives or somebody who is staying with you, or your friend is sick and you cannot even visit or give her something, what does it mean? And we know that the country is wealthy, and it has resources. The resources is coming with the international partners, and sometimes the way they are being utilized, we need to discuss it with them, or discuss with our government. How does these resources pledged by the international partners, how are they being utilized? Because they don't reach us. And then secondly, our government, should they also allocate some funding for women rights or civil society activists, so that they can also take create awareness to the people. The same thing to the media houses. I was impressed when we call a media, they came in 1 hour. The media also need to be supported because they have families. They are like anybody. They need cars. They need to travel. So I think there is a need for fair distribution of resources and right people in right position so that we can transform this country. The agreement on the resolution of conflict in the Republic of South Sudan talk about reforms.
Thank you. And we are time, but maybe your word of encouragement to South Sudanese women. 1 minute.
Yes, my dear sisters, come out. Let Dr. John Garang told us, women come out. And His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Sudan, Comrade Salva Kiir Mayardit, also gave us a chance. The 35% he supported. And we cannot get 35% when we are sit back and we sit home. Our space will not be given to us unless we demand it. So let us work together despite our challenges. Let us leave the issue of party. The party issue is not a big deal. The big deal is how can we help ourselves as South Sudanese women? How can we advocate for our space and our right? Our country is wealthy. It has all what resources. We need those contracts to be given to us. The 35% of the contracts, whether being from the oil companies, whether it's being from whatever supply that we need to supply our army or unified forces, we can do it. Why not? And then the issue of agriculture in this country, we are doing a small scale. That is what we are selling in the market, vegetables. But in a big scale, we cannot do it when the economic is challenging the country. Like the economic crisis in the country, it is we women who are resilient in the market, and our young men who are cleaning the cars and carrying the shoes. And those are the businessmen that I know, because they are also resilient in the market. Thank you so much, Majur. I will not talk much. Maybe next time we will come and discuss more.
I know we have a lot to tackle, but
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making it to African Morning Breakfast Show. Hope not to be the last time, and to see you again next time in African Morning Breakfast
Thank
Show,
you.
another program of SABC.
Shukran. Thank you. I also thank SSBC very well for covering our events most of the time, and let the people know that there is Women Bloc of South Sudan in the country, which is advocating for the women rights and the right of the people of South Sudan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And to
Thank
our
you.
viewers, thank you so much for being part of African Morning Breakfast Show on SABC. In this edition of African Morning Breakfast Show, we have been looking at the role of South Sudanese women in the revitalized peace agreement, their involvement and support in business sector, and how can the government of the Republic of South Sudan still fill the gap that are lacking for the women representations in the government. And it has been a pleasure having Amir helping us understanding more about what is needed for the women representations in the government or in the transitional government of national unity. For me and the technical team in the studio, we do say thank you so much for accompanying us, and do have a lovely time until we meet again in another editions of African Morning Breakfast Show on SABC. Do have a lovely time, and bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Majur.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Breakfast Show coming to you live on SSBC.
Good morning, South Sudan. Welcome to African Breakfast Show, SSBC, coming to you live from South Sudan capital, Juba.
I am Denis Abrekajin, bring to you current affairs within states.
Are you ready to do Gurugara Sawa? Yeah! Are you ready for it? Dynamic, comment on this song.
This song is a special dedication to one of the men that really opened up the doors for all of us entertainers. Put your hands together for General Paulino! And I just want to say, without him, there will not be dynamic. So, thank you so much. Y'all ready? Are you ready?
Rich Kid Sound. Shaka on the beat, yo. Ruka music.